Look, if you've been experimenting with AI using familiar web languages, you've probably hit a wall by now. We've all been there. Today, we're transitioning from those basic programming concepts to building a truly robust AI foundation. We're diving into Chapter 3, Python Essentials for LLMs and APIs, and we are officially crossing the bridge to AI heavy lifting. In this explainer, we're going to unpack the industry standard tools you need to build complex systems, integrate directly with powerful models, and honestly just truly understand the architecture running beneath the surface. Now, if you're a developer who has pushed languages like JavaScript to their absolute limits, you are probably wondering, why on earth do I need to learn a completely new language just for AI? And hey, it is a completely valid question. We all love our existing tool chains, right? And sure, JavaScript ports of basic AI examples totally exist, and they're a lot of fun to play around with. But the exact moment you want to move beyond those simple API calls and actually build complex production-ready AI systems, well, that is exactly when the friction starts. You start looking up tutorials on retrieval augmented generation or maybe agentic workflows, and suddenly, literally everything you find assumes you're running a Python environment. The reality here is pretty simple. Python has the libraries and tools to do the heavy lifting, period. It is the undisputed native language of AI development. The researchers, the framework builders, the data scientists, they all speak Python natively. Think about it. When a massive cutting-edge model drops from OpenAI, Anthropic, or Meta, the Python libraries are updated almost instantly. Adopting Python isn't just about forcing yourself to learn new syntax. It's about getting VIP access to the most powerful, cutting-edge AI ecosystem on the planet. If you want to actually build things rather than just tinker on the sidelines, you absolutely need to be where the builders are. So, to map your existing knowledge onto Python, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the shift to Python. Second, the essential libraries. Third, recreating a REST service. Fourth, Pythonic syntax basics. And finally, running your server. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, the shift to Python. While JavaScript is absolutely fantastic for web development, and obviously for building the interactive user interfaces of our applications, we inevitably hit a hard ceiling regarding what those basic tools can do on the back end when it comes to deep AI integration. Python, on the other hand, features this incredibly established, mature ecosystem packed with rich libraries tailored specifically for AI. It gives you the most direct path to utilizing complex models, fine-tuning them, and building really sophisticated data pipelines. Think of it this way. Trying to do heavy AI lifting in web-first languages is kind of like using a prepackaged consumer tool. It works until it doesn't. Moving to Python, that gives you the keys to the entire workshop. Moving on to section 2, let's talk about the essential Python libraries. So here is our core philosophy for this part of the explainer. We are going to rely on low-level SDKs. You can think of these as lightweight wrappers over the underlying REST APIs. Now, why does this matter so much? Because massive all-in-one frameworks often come with heavy vendor lock-in and a whole lot of hidden magic. In software development, we call these leaky abstractions. You know what I mean? When the tool tries to hide the complexity from you, but it completely breaks the second you need some sort of custom behavior. A low-level SDK gives you maximum, uncompromised control over exactly how you configure and call your large language models. You get to see the exact payload going out and the exact response coming back. No mysteries. You will know exactly what your code is doing. Because of that philosophy, you might expect a massive list of dependencies to get started, right? But actually, we only need a highly focused trio of tools to do some serious damage. First up is FastAPI. This makes spinning up a web server remarkably quick with almost zero boilerplate, all while supporting modern asynchronous Python. Second, we have the Ollama SDK. This is our direct line to local open-weight models like Llama 3 or Mistral. And the best part? That means no cloud provider is required, and your data stays completely private on your machine. And third, we have Pydantic. Pay attention to this one because it is about to become your absolute best friend. The absolute hardest part of AI engineering is getting unpredictable text models to output predictable data. Pydantic wrangles that unpredictable AI output into strict, structured JSON schemas. Together, these three form the holy trinity of robust AI APIs. All right, section 3. Let's get into recreating the REST service. Let's walk through the actual build sequence. It starts incredibly simply. And honestly, if you are coming from the modern web ecosystem, this is going to feel like a massive breath of fresh air. You just create a dedicated directory, let's call it getting_started_Python, then drop in a main.py file, open it up in your favorite IDE like VS Code, and that's it. Seriously, There is no massive node_modules folder to worry about, no nightmare Webpack configuration, no waiting for 10,000 transitive dependencies to resolve before you can write a single line of code. It's just a clean slate ready for your logic. We are drastically lowering the cognitive load here by building a familiar REST service, which lets you focus entirely on learning the Python mechanics. And that brings us to the core action we are programming right into that server: streaming LLM completions. Listen, in the world of AI, your user experience is heavily tied to what we call time to first token. We absolutely cannot make our users stare at a loading spinner for 20 seconds while waiting for the AI to generate a massive block of text. By programming FastAPI and Ollama to stream the completions dynamically, chunk by chunk over the network as it's generated, we replicate that incredibly fast responsive feel that you see in top-tier commercial AI chats like ChatGPT or Claude. It literally transforms your application from feeling like a slow database query into a dynamic real-time conversation.
Let's roll right into Section 4, Pythonic Syntax Basics.
As you start writing out this code, we want to make sure you don't get tripped up by some of the language quirks. When you look at Python classes for the first time, you are immediately going to spot methods wrapped in double underscores, like __init___. In the community, these are affectionately known as magic methods. But don't let the name fool you. They aren't dark arts or anything. They're just built-in hooks for core object behaviors. The most common one you'll encounter by far is init, which is simply Python's constructor method. It fires off automatically to spin up and configure a new object the exact moment it's created. Once you know what to look for, this syntax becomes incredibly readable. Another thing you'll frequently notice is the word self, passed as the very first parameter into almost every single class method you write. Now, if you're coming from other object-oriented languages like Java or JavaScript, this concept usually happens invisibly behind the scenes with keywords like this. But Python has a very specific core philosophy. Explicit is better than implicit. Self is just Python's way of handing the method direct, explicit access to that specific current instance of the class. It's exactly what lets your function grab internal attributes or call other methods easily. I promise you, it feels a little repetitive for about 5 minutes, and then it becomes entirely second nature.
Finally, Section 5, let's talk about actually running your server.
All right, following the source project's README instructions is always going to be your best first step here. You'll install your dependencies via a standard requirements.txt file, and typically you'll do that right into a clean virtual environment. Then you'll launch the FastAPI server locally, quite often using a server runner like UVcorn. Once the server's up and running, you just fire off requests to the endpoint in your browser, or maybe a tool like Postman. And the payoff? It's instant. You'll sit there and watch the LLM stream its intelligent responses right back to you in real time, token by token. Let me tell you, it is an incredibly satisfying aha moment when all those pieces connect and your machine just starts thinking out loud. So let's take a quick step back and recap what we've just built. We've established Python as our uncompromising standard moving forward. We've armed ourselves with a lightweight, high-performance toolkit consisting of FastAPI, Pydantic, and the Ollama SDK. We've conquered the initial quirks of Pythonic syntax, and we've visualized a foundational server capable of streaming dynamic responses. By porting a familiar REST concept to a brand new language, we've effectively stripped away all that anxiety of learning new syntax and completely prepared you for the real heavy lifting ahead. You now have a rock-solid platform to build upon. You have successfully crossed the bridge. You have the native AI ecosystem, you have the uncompromised toolkit, and you have the structural know-how. The foundation is poured, tested, and set. So, the only question left for you is, with this kind of raw power now sitting right at your fingertips, what complex, real-world problems will you prompt your new AI environment to solve next?